In Cuba, millions of people are still without power today after another widespread blackout. The country's power grid collapsed yesterday. Crowds took to the streets of Havana overnight, banging pots and pans to protest the government's handling of the crisis. At its peak, more than 10 million people were without power. It's the latest in a string of major outages on the island, a situation made worse by a U.S. blockade on oil that has crippled Cuba's already aging grid. So for more on the situation in Cuba, let's bring in journalist Tony Waterman. She joins us now from Washington. So Tony, what more do we know about this power outage and how it's affecting Cubans?
Well, the lights went out about 2 o'clock in the afternoon local time on Monday, and the Cuban government says that there has been a complete disconnection of the country's electrical system, that it's investigating exactly what went wrong here. It's also working to restore power, but it is very slow moving. The state media was reporting earlier today that just about 5% of power has now been restored. And the country's electricity grid is known for being quite old, for crumbling, and of course, for the last 3 months has been starved of oil. The U.S. has imposed this blockade around the island and has threatened tariffs on countries like Mexico that try to help out the Cubans. So it's not receiving any oil shipments. And Cuba's president just last week said that the country hadn't received a shipment in more than 3 months and that it was running on about 40% of the fuel that it needs, and it's been trying to supplement its needs by using solar power, natural gas, and thermal electric plants, but it's clearly not enough. And this is now the latest in a series of major blackouts, and it's becoming more dire every day. You have hospitals that are canceling surgeries, women that are giving birth in the dark. There's also been a food and medicine shortage, and people, as you mentioned, are taking to the streets to protest.
Tony, the United States is heavily involved in what's happening in Cuba. So what kind of threats is President Trump making about the country that's just south of Florida?
Well, Cuba has been in the president's line of vision for a while now, but on Monday, he really amped up his rhetoric and he discussed and kind of mused about the possibility of just taking over the island.
I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be good. That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? They're a very weakened nation right now.
The president in recent days has said that he is considering taking action in Cuba, but that he planned to wait until the mission in Iran is over. What exactly that action may be is really unclear. It could be this quick in and out military strike like we saw in Venezuela when the U.S. deposed former President Nicolas Maduro back in January. Washington and Havana, though, have opened negotiations to try and reach some sort of deal. And according to the New York Times, as part of those talks, the Trump administration wants to push out Cuba's president. And certainly this months-long oil blockade is about trying to strong-arm the government into a negotiated surrender. And much of this has to do with the U.S.'s national security strategy, which is really now focused on the Western Hemisphere.
Tony, thank you for the latest on this. That is journalist Tony Waterman in Washington.